calisthenics for the goal of a movement rather than for the sake of building muscle. So like to use an example that's a little bit more not extreme, but a little bit more clear for that would be like skateboarding, right? If you were trying to learn like a kick flip, hard flip, things like that, you would, you would build strong muscles and that you would build a strong skill, and like provided you don't consistently injure yourself, which almost every skateboarder I know does. You might build strong joints there from doing that, but nobody is like time to train ankle. It's ankle day, gonna do kick flips, right? It's for the goal of doing it, right? So there's that. So in that case, yes, well, I would just do it fresh, but it would depend. Some people want to finish out and they kind of use it as like a cardio because it also is like if you're in the camp that's like, I want to do more sets and I want to do one where I really burn out a little bit more, like I really want to feel the fatigue and feel the pump later, then you could argue that some calisthenics is going to be safer, I guess, for you to approach failure because let's say you're doing push-ups, one-arm push-ups or like weighted push-up, whatever, it might be simpler for you to get nearer to failure and just like drop rather than let 300 pounds fall on your face, if that makes sense.
For sure.
So there's that side. But overall, I would say you're very, very correct.
Oh, good. Hey, guys, listen, guys, I'm right. Happens once in a while, guys. Happens once in a while. I appreciate that.
Hey, same here.
That was awesome. I have many more questions, but if anyone has a question in the audience from the server, guys, it's a fantastic opportunity. Anything to do with bodyweight fitness, calisthenics?
Candy has a question. Yeah. But quickly, before Candy asks this question, now I've got a question I've got to ask, and I need a good answer to this, Hampton. So I know in the past I show you footage of two people doing a push-up competition. Let's just say one of them did full form and the other person didn't do full form. Does that form actually count in a push-up competition? Because everyone keeps saying it does, but every time I'm reviewing it, it looks like push-ups rather than push-ups because I don't know. But yeah, basically, it's when I did a push-up competition against Chris. I won because I did full range of motion, and he was basically doing. This. Should I pull the footage? We'll do it at the end of the podcast. But do you have to do full range of motion? Because basically, we're going to do another one either today or at the end of the month. I'm ready anytime. Hey, I'm down, Chris. Whenever. I always win. I'll change the rules if I lose. What's the correct method to do a push-up? And what rules would you... Actually, I've got a good question.
Rules. Are there rules?
What rules would you put in place to make sure a push-up competition is done well? Because if I say full range of motion, he's then going to take like 30 minutes or as long as possible, recovering and like going up, down. And if I say we can do the most in 1 minute, he's going to do like half a quarter rep or whatever. So I need like rules just so he doesn't cheat, basically. But yeah, that's my question.
How can AO win is the question.
No, dude, how can Chris not cheat? That's the question. But yeah, go ahead. Thank you, Hampton. Appreciate you.
No. You spiked many different things. I mean, first of all, I have 3 people with profile photos that aren't loading. So if you're like showing me anything on the camera, I can't quite see it. But I really I can hear the passion in the voice. Just real quick, have you or anyone I'm talking to right now seen One Piece? Are you familiar with it?
Yo, Hampton, you are the best person ever. That is my favorite anime. Shut up, Chris. That is my favorite anime of all time. But yeah, go ahead.
You're familiar with Dory and Bragi, right?
Yeah. The 2 giants where they're always fighting.
That's what it reminds me of. It's like, no. I did more push-ups. No, I did more push-ups 100 years later. Because like last time you were arguing about this, and then like however many years after we did this, you're still arguing about it. So it's like Dory and Bragi. 100 years later, it's like, what were we even fighting about? I don't know, but I'm gonna win, right? So, yeah. By the way, recent stuff just to get people hyped, but no spoilers. When they finally did other stuff, I was like, whoa, that was insane.
Have you read the recent manga with Dorian in Elbath for One Piece? I don't want to spoil it.
I don't know how much counts as spoilers, but I mean, some stuff they're used in marketing. I haven't really we can talk about this later, but I've been so like in the zone. You You can tell I'm more mentally well when I start being caught up on One Piece again.
Yeah, that means you got a lot of time. Yeah.
It is because I got other stuff going on. I used to like Teching 101, greatest of all time YouTuber.
Yes.
I am so behind. I've never been this behind on Teching in years. Okay, but like when I feel more mentally well, I'll be up on it. Also, One Piece D&D, best series of all time. Anyway,
yeah, this guy's the GOAT. Oh, let's go.
Right, it really depends. So you bring up a couple things, and I'll bring up one that's like actually useful for fitness training for people that are watching this, and then we'll spitball a little bit. So what counts as full range of motion? And this is going to anger some people, but you think about it a little bit. We make it up. We make it up because it is arbitrary. So you think about like muscles lengthen, they contract, right? What is actually full? Because it's going to depend on someone. Like if you like a bicep curl, your range of motion is going to get a little bit less as your biceps get bigger, right? So like it's not based on like joint angles. It's usually just based on what you in particular can do. And if you go down until your chest touches the ground for a push-up, then you really are advantaged if you have big boobs. Right? Is that sort of, it's like, I'm barely getting, I'm not even getting 90-degree bend in my elbows, but because I have double D's, I am winning every push-up contest. See, that'd be one way to win, right? So it really is going to depend on what you agree with, right? Because full range of motion is like, I wouldn't say this, but someone was arguing that full range of motion is almost a misnomer, or like, I guess you could say it's like a fake North Star, right? Because like, it's going to depend. And anytime there's something that, by the way, I encourage the Dorian Broglie behavior, but anytime there's an argument about something like that, you gotta think lifting is one of the things that we want to compete with because it's basically a safer way of a battle to the death. Right, you don't have to bring out the swords and knives, and you can still compete. But there are so many small aspects that unless you like specifically define it, it's not going to there's going to be different. Like, what if this person pauses for an extra second, on top of his rep, right? What if someone like, goes slightly, not as much, what if like slight elbow flare? There's going to be difference. And then like, you can really get into like, well, does sumo count, right? Like versus like how wide do your hands have to be, right? So like, there's a lot of small aspects. I think it's like Goodhart's law or something, but it's just like once you like, on one hand, measuring something and working towards it usually makes it improve. But when improving that metric by itself becomes the goal, then there's going to be all kinds of optimizations that go towards that don't necessarily, then you've lost the plot, right? You're no longer doing push-ups for being better at push-ups. You're doing better so you can do more, right? So it's going to appear. But third, my errant thought, because my brain's been in software recently, because like we're hiring a developer, I've been working on stuff. I'm like, it would be cool for like to have like a what is it? Source of truth, I guess, to use a real propaganda term, but like a push-up app that you guys can see live that monitors your form, and you can do settings. It's called push-up test or something, right? I don't have this app. This is just an idea. If you guys want to make, there are so many things that I don't want to make. I want to be the user of.
Yes, not to
right?
have.
Yeah. So like you make it. And then it's like you all agree on the form, and then it monitors you. You put the camera in front of you, and it monitors you. So someone else is counting it, and it's a computer. That might like be the best way to get like something that some people are more okay with. Because if you have someone else monitor, either that or a judge, right? That's what you would need. You would need a third party saying that. It's like you would have to both agree beforehand, right? It's like a debate. It's like the presidential debate, but with push-ups, right? So it's like, no, you both agree, and then afterwards, even though you agreed, you still argue about it. So that's what I would do.
Thank you very much for the answer, Hampton. So basically, because Chris cheats a lot, we have to use AI or a judge, like a debate. And also, One Piece is real. Yeah, or software. One Piece is real. Let's go.
As we've said again, confirming more.
Anyway, I don't want to take up too much time and greedily use this as an opportunity for you guys in the server to use this and ask as much questions as you want. Thank you for waiting patiently, Candy. Feel free to ask your question. Anyone else who has a question, feel free to raise your hand. I'm going to put myself on mute and not yet.
Hi, Coach Hampton. Thank you for joining to help people out. My question is probably a very common question, but how would you recommend somebody to go about, like, I don't know what the phrase is, to improve on pull-ups and, go from pull-ups to maybe muscle-ups? That's my question.
No, that's a cool thing. How many pull-ups are you currently doing, dude?
Just 3. If you count chin over the bar, right? That's when a pull-up counts.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we just went on a whole wheel over like what counts, but sure. So at 3, I would say start off doing a couple of sets of those 3 push-ups. So just do that, and I'm guessing like maybe waiting like this is gonna surprise some people, like 3 to 5 minutes, depending on because I'm not there. I don't quite see your form, and I can get better evaluation of where you're at. I would say do a set of 3, wait a little bit, do a few sets of those, so you get that higher intensity, higher contraction, and then because it's going to be harder for you to get enough volume, in my opinion, which I know technically, you don't have to have high volume, but I think it'd be cool. It would be beneficial if you did that and followed it up with either banded pull-ups or you did an easier variation. Either one's fine. Just like, but basically it's like kind of a drop set, right? So you do that, or not drop set, but like you start off with something heavier, then do an easier one to finish out, and do a couple sets of those is what I would do, and I would do that a couple times a week. That and eat, sleep, and track, and film your sets. Right. So like I've been on this kick. If you can film your sets, keep it in a Google Drive or something, and like use small files. Pay like $1 a year to Google or something if you want. No, not sponsored, right? Because like that's really going to help you. Because then you can go back and be like, oh, interesting. $1. Like interesting. What like back then it was not. I thought I haven't improved as much, but now my form was a lot worse compared to how it is now. So that's something I would do. So monitor, track, and then do those sets a few times a week. I think you should improve. And you'll also know when you stall, right? If you're like, hey, I've been here, consistency is important, but I've been stuck here for 2 weeks and I haven't really improved. And you go back and you check and you're like, I actually haven't improved. It's not just mental. Then you can adjust things like, maybe I need to get more sleep. Maybe I need to adjust what I eat. Because sometimes it's just like, oh, I haven't been getting enough of this, haven't been getting enough of that, haven't been recovering enough. And that will get you there. And lastly, just touch upon this. It's kind of a side topic, but like so calisthenics has this issue where we think of progressions in different ways, like going from pull-ups to muscle-ups, right? Okay, so it's kind of just, like imagine if someone, and like this, I'm not making fun of you for saying this. This is a very common thought, and it's not bad, depending on your goal. But like, imagine someone saying like, I'm going to start with bench press and work my way up. No, I'm going to start with bicep curls and work my way up to bench press, right? You'd be like, I guess, right? And like your reasoning is that the barbell is 45 pounds and like you can use like smaller dumbbells. And you're like, yeah, well, sure, and then like you have the stability and everything, but like those like pull up and then the top part of a muscle up are almost like opposing, right? So like well, it's a pull and then it's a push, right? So I think get good at pull-ups first, right? And then in calisthenics we have this thing to where we combine different things. Like someone's like, well, I want to get so good at push-ups that I can do planche push-ups. In my opinion, those are like 2 separate skills, at least 2. Like there's a lot of like small micro skills in between to train, right? Because you get very good at push-ups, not do planche push-ups. They're separate things. So what I would say is get good at pull-ups first, and then work on the skill to get up to muscle-ups, because you might very well be able to do it just from learning a technique.
That's first funny. That's actually what I do with the pull-ups, because I am only doing like 3, and sometimes I can only do like 2 where the chin goes over the bar, and I'll switch to the assisted machine. But yeah, I actually, and I'll do like 8 to 10 reps on something that I can do on assisted to hit the volume. But yeah, the sleep thing is kind of It's kind of a bad situation. And I actually do film my pull-ups, even though they're pathetic. But I do film them. So I haven't really gone back and looked to see if there's been any improvements. But I guess I could.
Well, how long have you been there?
I've been able to do pull-ups about, I think, in February of this year is when I was able. So I never been able to do pull-ups till I got into. I hate to bring this up, but I got into CrossFit. Then I found out I was able. I was able to do pull-ups. I also found out I was able to squat low, but then I stopped going, and then I lost being able to do pull-ups. But then I joined this server, and I started going back to the gym again, and the pull-ups came back. But now I'm just stuck with 3 pull-ups.
No, I appreciate that context. I'm glad I dug a little further in there. Okay, so you feel like you're stuck at 3 pull-ups. Would you don't have to share this if you don't want, but if you can get an idea of your height and weight, that would help me give some solutions.
6'2",
Sorry, what?
I'm 6 foot 2 inches. I don't know what it is in centimeters. It's probably like 190 centimeters. And then I'm 190 pounds, or that's probably I don't know, 95 kilograms, maybe.
Okay, so I'll say this, right? So one thing that's like I was talking about all these factors in this. Pull-ups are going to be harder for you than they are for me, right? Because like my friend is very good at pull-ups, but he's 140 pounds, so you're doing like 50-pound weighted pull-ups just by default, right? Just by having your body attached to you. So there's that. So you might progress a little bit slower because of that, right? But you should be able to go a little bit further. When you're doing these pull-ups, is it overhand?
Yeah, and it's wide grip, as wide as I can get it.
So try this out, right? This is something that not someone would be like, why would you do that? But if you've been stuck for a while and you want to get better at pulling anyway, try something and try to find one that you actually find a little bit easier. That a small change in form, and practice that for a couple months, since you've been basically stuck since February anyway, right? Or like more or less. Try neutral grip for like a month or so, because I've noticed you can like there's different possible reasons for this. That sometimes is an unlock for someone when they've been already stuck for a while, so there's not like you're losing progress, because like progress is kind of halted a little bit. Try that for a little bit. Try to find one that's a little bit easier, because you might notice there's there's a small bit of form or a small thing there that you were missing. It's like, now I'm actually training the right thing, and that, and also just like a change can be good to alter the stimulus. I'll try that for a month or so.
Okay, neutral grip is like closer, like your hands are closer in.
Yeah, so neutral grip is like I'm holding the so it'd be you can look it up. Palms facing each other. Hammer grip, some people call it.
Up.
Right. Try that, underhand, something like that, and be like, wait, that's not a pull-up, that's a chin-up. Right, whatever.
Yeah.
I call them pull-ups. Right. Most controversial Hampton take, hashtag. Okay.
I do those too. I can do a little bit more of those, like 4 or 5 of those. But yeah, pull-ups. Ugh. But okay, I will do that. Thank you so much, Coach Hampton.
Of course. You're very welcome, candy ass.
All right, peace.
See ya. Best of luck.
See ya.
Thank you very much, Candy. That's why you're the best member in the server. You've probably lost that position since you trained CrossFit, but I do forgive you. So thank you. I really do appreciate you, mate. Next person was Tommy. I do think Tommy was first, so I apologize, Tommy, for skipping you. Is Tommy here? Go ahead, mate.
It's funny. Hi, Coach Hampton. So I had like 3 questions, but I'll try to get them out as quick as possible. So basically, for people, or just to give a bit of context, I'm relatively new to the gym, and my main goal, which sounds quite naive, is just to look bigger, to feel better just to be big. Really, it sounds very cliche and whatnot, but yeah, I just want to get big and whatnot. So for things like bodybuilding or powerlifting, it doesn't really apply to everyone, but on a baseline scale, things like being able to do stuff like pull-ups for like high frequency, or being able to balance their body weight at a certain level, or being able to continuously spam calisthenic moves because of the lack of cardio that a lot of people might have. So those limiting factors, how easy would you say it is, or how does one transition into calisthenics after powerlifting or bodybuilding with those limiting factors?
Well, I don't think. First of all, I think hats off, salute, proud of you for going to the gym. And it doesn't I don't think it's naive, right? A lot of people, whether they want to admit it or not, they get into the gym to improve something about themselves, and a big part of that is actually wanting to improve something about how they look. Which I think, as long as you're approaching it in a healthy way, is totally fine. Dude, I mean, you said naive, dude. Think about how many people got inspired to train and are now professional fitness coaches because of Naruto, because of Goku. They're like, I want to go Super Saiyan. Like literally, one of my personal trainer friends who like answers questions for us, Chris, he dresses up as Goku for like Otakon or something, and he goes around. He's very muscular, right? But he was like, the OG inspiration, Goku, right? So don't feel bad about that. That's totally fine. You're within plenty of great company there. That's awesome. As for the transition, I wouldn't worry about it. So like, um, I saw this video. It was a muscular guy saying, people keep asking me, what about functional training? He's like, dude, my function is to look jacked all the time, and I have that function 24/7. Right. So it's you can get muscular so there's a couple different things. You can it is totally fine just to want to look muscular and big and look good. You can have that. And thankfully, there is not as much of a binary path as it might seem right now. Right. It's like, hey, like I chose bodybuilding, and it's kind of like going, oh man, what's like, you chose the Jedi over the Sith or something, right? It's like you can have both.
Like picking a soft Pokemon, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I like that one. I like that one. So you can do the bodybuilding, and thankfully, the muscle fibers that you build there are going to be the same muscle fibers that you use in calisthenics. I named them, Bob, Hermie, Sherman, right? And then they're all helping. They're all my bros, right? And the small differences, I think, is going to be similar to the skill aspect we brought up earlier in the podcast, right? So, like, if you're very good at bench press, and you're like, man, I don't know why I can't do 5 push-ups. You don't have to start from the beginning. A lot of that is just neural. So your hardware, you can think of as your muscles, ligaments, joints. That's going to be built. Your software changes a lot faster than your hardware. So you can gain things quickly, and you can lose things quickly, right? So I'll put it this way. There have been times where I didn't do a muscle up for like months, and I tried it. I'm like, oh, I can't do one. And then the next day I go in and I'm fine with it. Right, it's just rewired it, right? And as someone who does calisthenics a lot, sometimes I'm just not around a bar for a while. Like it's happened like a couple times. I just didn't do it for like 4 months. I'm like, oh, I could barely do that. And then literally the next day I come by and I didn't get much stronger. Right, I barely even slept. It was just neural. It was just neural. So you can rest assured for that. Another, like the aspect of like cardio and stuff for calisthenics, actually, depending on the calisthenics that you're doing, I wouldn't say cardio is that much of a limiting factor. Like, the cardio required for the heavy squats, barbell squats that you'll be doing, it's going to be more intense than like doing push-ups probably, right? Unless you're doing like high rep stuff, right? But like that applies to anything. You can do high rep bench press, high rep, you can squat 45 for like hundreds, right? So I wouldn't worry too much. Stick with what you like, and then you can expand that.
Okay. Oh yeah. All right. That makes sense. So I had another question following that. I don't know how long you've been, into calisthenics and like into, the as in like the YouTube and the brand and all that. But it's a question that I ask different people normally, because I think most people that are new to the gym in some way, they would have some form of self-confidence issue at on at the course of their journey, and like wanting to be big enough or strong enough and whatnot. At what point did you feel that you were at what point did you feel comfortable at where you were at, and how did you approach like being comfortable in your journey, and just taking it one day at a time rather than being self-conscious all the time?
Ah, great question. And I think, and you finish in a wonderful way, because like my brain calculate is like thinking of different answers, but I think the way you finished it, it helps me find the best answer. And that is, you can be confident now, but just be honest about where you are. Right? Like, if I think the more we try, this is just my opinion, the more we try to fake it till we make it, and the more we try to posture, the more insecurity we're going to have. Right? And I know some people are just like, no, like you need to act like you are the best, you need to dress like that. Sure. But the more that you try to hide about who you actually are, not who you suspect you are, not like insecurities there, but about who you actually are, the more insecurities you're going to have. I would have a ton of insecurities if my whole shtick was about being the most muscular, because I'm not. Right? And that's awesome. Like, that's awesome. I'm happy for them. Right? Good for you. Someone's like, that person's more muscular than you, so I'm going to listen to them. I'm like, blessings. Like really, not passive aggressively. I'm like, I hope you crush your goals. That is awesome. Right? And then it's like, I don't even pretend to be the best at calisthenics, because I'm not. Right? All I proclaim to be is I am Hampton. Right, Coach Hampton. I think someone edited my name. I didn't even put Coach Hampton in there. I do coach people, but it's like I'm just Hampton, right? So it wasn't a thing of like, now I feel comfortable enough, now I'm gonna start teaching it. No, I mean, my mom was sick. I was taking care of her 24/7. I'm like, it sure would be, like, our money was dwindling. I was like, it sure would be good to be able to do a business from home. So I was like, hey, I started this blog back in a couple of years ago. Maybe I'll start that again. And then I was watching videos, and it turns out, like, oh yeah, no one really blogs anymore, Hampton. Like, son of a gun. Right, I'm behind again. Right, like I was such a late adopter for a lot of things. Like, I'll tell you this, I didn't even really like social media. I didn't even really like texting. I was raised by like some very blue collar boomer, traditional people, and I was just like, if you want to talk to someone, you just go face to face, right? So I was like, oh, I was like, so blogging, this internet thing, it's pretty big, right? That was in 2020. Now, as it turns out, YouTube. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I started making videos, right? And I'll be honest, I did it with a business in mind, which doesn't mean I want to scam anyone, but I was just like, I want to help people and make money doing it. But that really changed a lot after we got a little bit of a community and some people reached out. I remember my first comments like, Hampton, that was so helpful. Thank you so much. And then that took me on like this like pre-quest of like a couple years where I didn't sell anything, right? And I just kind of make it work. But I'll be honest, I started with a business in mind. It wasn't like I want to start teaching now. And I was into calisthenics at the time. And it was something that I was interested in, and something that I thought I could share with others, something that people already asked me about, right? And you kind of go like, when you go into a new field, it's interesting because I feel like you should do some research, but beyond a foundational amount, you just go in and you start doing things the way, and once again, don't proclaim to be anything that you're not. You just start doing what you feel like it should be, and you come in with that fresh mindset, and then later on learn the fundamentals and how things are, and that will change. I think it will make you more unique in it, because had I studied the fitness industry on YouTube, I don't know if I would join. Right, I was like, well, because like we come up with these preconceived notions of how things are and how they should be, like if I were to do like a thorough analysis of like YouTube or like online community fitness stuff, and then like come in with a business plan with like a whole team, it's like, There's people that are better looking, funnier, more muscular, stronger, but people they might watch me because they think I'm nice. I was like, who would invest in that business plan? Right. I wouldn't. But the thing is, like, I didn't know any of that. I didn't know there were other I barely knew there were other fitness people. Right. I thought there were like 3. Right. And I was like, I'm just going, I'm gonna start talking. Right. I want to share what I know. And that last aspect of that is, once again, to reiterate a third time, don't pretend to be something you're not, but keep in mind that after you know a little bit about something and you've been at it for a couple of years, you can usually help most people in it. Right. So like most of us have gone through school here, right? And I use this example because I don't want people to think, oh, Dunning-Kruger. No. But literally in the same class in school, you're going to be tutoring someone or being tutored by someone who is in the same class as you, just because they understand it a little bit more. They've been doing it. They spent a couple more hours on it. It's like, hey, I don't understand algebra. It's like, that's okay, man. I do, because I studied, and I'll help you with it. Right. So like, that's, I'm not saying go be Dunning-Kruger, and have that effect, but I'm saying that, be honest about who you can help. And if you spend a couple years diligently on something, you can usually help some people. Right. You can usually help some people. And we have lost, we have lost sight of like what is common and what is real with the internet. I saw a photo of a grandma doing a planche. Right. So it kind of feels like everyone and their dog can planche. I don't know a single person in my town that can do it. That's right. It's like, and it's just like one arm pull up. It's like everyone and their mom can do a one arm pull up. I don't, and it's like, it's there's 2 different sides to that, because like if I didn't have access to the internet, and I didn't know there were so many people in the world, I might be the best one arm pull upper in the world, can actually do one. I don't know anyone in town that can. Right. But obviously there's not. there's like some people who are amazing, blow me way out of the water. So there's that. You can stay humble, but you also, you can, and another part is you can know what's possible. But another part is also just like, think about that. Like you and 100 people, you and this, and that's just like teaching. I know you're talking about being confident, being comfortable in your skin. I give longer answers because I want to apply it to different people, but you can be comfortable with, with yourself, just knowing that you are not standing among who you might think you're standing among in, like the online sphere, people that really take up a lot of real estate in your mind. And also people in this context, a lot of them really are nicer than they might seem. Right. Like I can't even quite see you. Right. But I see a profile photo. But you seem like a cool person. Right. A lot of people would. They're very relatively few people are going to be looking at you and judging you in a way that you really need to care about that much. So it's really more of an internal battle, and overcoming that, learning to be confident. And I think being confident can come from you doing things and getting better, but also being honest with yourself, not to the point to where you're beating yourself up, just being like, hey, I'm here, I'm trying to get better. That's who I am right now.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, really, really helped. My phone is almost going to die as well, so I'll probably just be on mute for the rest of it. Thank you again.
Of course. Thanks for talking.
Thank you very much, Tommy. Really do appreciate you waiting. And thanks, Hampton, for answering his question. Who was next? Not gonna lie, guys, I have lost track. I'm going to say Lau, because I don't know what's going on in the background, but just don't get me banned,
Lau,
please.
be responsible. I'm going to unmute disable your video for myself now.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Strong brows. Strong brows.
Strong what?
Brows. Not lift, brows.
Eyebrows?
Yes.
Yeah, she just plucked them just earlier.
There you go. No, straight away.
Oh. Lau, ask your question. What's going on? What is this?
Oh yeah, I got 3 questions. I'm sending videos alongside them. I can't do a skin to cat, but I can do a back lever. Well, that's my first question. How?
Great question. That's a statement.
Do I go about progressing that skin to cat? Like, I'm sending videos now. It's about to send. In the, I don't know. I'm using.
I'll take a look. Let me know when it's up, and I'll take a look.
It's nearly up. Right, let me.
Without looking at you, I would say it might be like a bodily proportion thing. right? What stops you from doing skin the cat?
So I do think he's no, his network. I think he's using either like 4G or something like that.
Everyone's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, he's basically caravanning right now. So he's using his phone Wi-Fi. He's probably used all of his upload speed just to upload that video. While we wait for Lau, yeah, I hope he didn't need it for anything else, right? While we wait for Lau, did anybody else have any question? Boya, did you have question? Kendra, did you have question? Harry, did you have question?
Kendra's got a question.
Oh, nice, Kendra. Feel free to ask your question. And I do know that Chris, what's his name? Kutz. I can't pronounce his name, but he had to leave. He had a text question, and I'll just ping you guys.
I've got a question from someone else who wanted to be here but can't as well. From someone sent me a question to ask.
Okay,
well.
so after Kendra, we'll do like the people who had to leave. Go ahead, Kendra. Feel free to ask your question.
Kendra's not ready.
And Lau's videos I've uploaded, so I think Lau is back. Hello?
Hello?
Let's go.
My phone died.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, what?
Hello?
The videos are in the chat
My
now.
phone-
If you want to see them.
Give me a moment and I'll watch the. I'll watch them. They're actually quite loud. I'm sorry. I don't know if people will be offended by this, but they're quite loud.
Allow it.
Well, they are quite loud.
Let's see.
One of the videos is related to another question, but two of them are obviously related to the skin the cat.
Okay. I kind of see the issue. Thanks for that. Sorry for the pause for people, but I was watching the videos. Okay, so you can actually, it looks like you're getting pretty close to the front lever, and you can do the back lever, but it's not getting your feet past the issue. It's like, I'm guessing maybe it's a shoulder mobility issue.
I'm not too sure. I think I've been told like hip mobility, I've been told shoulder mobility, I've been told both, so that's
I would just train both. How much do you warm up for that? And it's okay if the answer is not at all.
I do my calisthenic stuff at the end of every weightlifting session.
Okay.
Well, no,
All right, cool.
generally on the upper body.
Yeah. It is. It strikes me, without knowing more, I could be wrong about this. It strikes me as a mobility thing for hips, right? So find a way for where your shoulders. I don't. There's so many different stretches you can do for that, but like look up shoulder stretch for back lever, and then you'll find some. Right, find one. You're like, that's tight, and you should be able to do it. And check this out, because like you might like this. There are some times where I'm like, it's a mobility issue. I'm like, man, in my mind, at least for me, when someone's like, it's a mobility issue, I'm like, man, I'm going to have to spend like a couple weeks, it's going to take a while before I can even get to the thing I want. But there are times where we can use the warm up where we like just kind of stretch it. Or my favorite thing is to hold the stretch and breathe, inhale in a way till you feel the stretch. And I was like, man, there's this physical therapist that keeps talking about it on my Instagram. And I really like that. And you just do that for literally like 30 seconds, 90 seconds beforehand, stretching the thing that you think you need to stretch. And then you get that little boost right away in your workout, right? Now you need to keep doing it for it to stick. But if it's just something like, I need that extra little bit of mobility to do this, you might be able to get that. There's like cold flexibility versus like warm flexibility. I think some people call it, right? But it's like you're basically warming up and doing that stretch beforehand. You can do it dynamic, whatever. And that might help right away. And then over time, over a couple of weeks, you might be doing it. It strikes me as like, it very much seems like a mobility thing, which means it's right there for you. It's right there because you already have the strength, and that's probably going to take, and like you understand the skill, that's going to take the majority of the time. And the rest of it is just like, I need to go. So yeah, just go loop.
Nice. Yeah, I'll work on my mobility. It's pretty much the number one thing right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Last thing.
and then the other two questions is basically just like cleaning up my technique. What is like the final step for that front lever, and what is like the final step for like the muscle up, like a cleaner, strict-ish muscle up.
So, well, actually, I was about to say two different answers, but what do your weighted pull-ups look like?
Not very good.
Okay,
The
no,
weight,
Well,
no
be,
worries.
be honest. I was very strong. Be honest. Pull-ups are quite strong. You're a very strong guy.
it's my back's just my weakest muscle group. Compared to like everything else, it's a lot weaker.
Yeah,
But
explain it
my
properly, because these information, you're a really strong guy. He needs to understand what the actual muscles are.
okay, yeah, my 1 rep max with weighted pull-ups is 35 kilos at
Okay.
about 70 kilos body weight, but that was like ages ago, like a few months ago.
No. No worries. I think you the benefit of that is, I think if you spend only if you're stuck. If you're thriving right now, keep doing what you're doing. But you might have some low hanging fruit building up your weighted pull up there. Try different grips, see what transfers the most. I think because it's really like a bread and butter thing that you will probably want to use anyway. At some point, I think there's a lot of transfer to that. Some people get to a one arm pull up. They get pretty close to a front lever, and just from weighted pull ups. That isn't just my opinion, by the way. Like, yeah, I've heard like different discussions on this, and people are just like secret weapon weighted pull up, right? Just because I saw this whole argument. Well, it wasn't an argument, but it was a theory on YouTube, and he was arguing this point that a lot of people think that the front lever, they're missing core strength, and they kind of sag in the middle when they're trying to do it, right? When he's like, no, he's like, that's actually just like their body trying to reduce the shoulder angle there, and like you can build it up with weighted pull-ups and other things. So try that. I think it just showed. I think that spending a couple weeks on that could only help. Right, it might not be the thing, right? But spend a couple weeks, maybe a month, build it up just a little bit, because it's still mostly a neural component. But I think that can really help.
Yeah, right. And then the other one was for the muscle up. I think I've said a video on that as well. That video there, I was meant to just record like explosive pull-ups, like how I'm progressing on it. But at the top of that very first rep, I was like, "Oh, I can turn this into a muscle up," and then it just looks like that. That was like the first time explosive pull-ups clicked for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm just saying, like, it doesn't look as clean as I want it to be.
Oh, so you want to clean up your muscle up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, spend that money. Like if you're quite strong and you haven't spent that much time on weighted pull-ups, try that for a month. So like once again, it's a balance of technique. So practice the technique early on when you're fresh, but like do a couple sets of that, high density sets, just so you can start drilling it. Just try to work on it being cleaner, and then work on some weighted pulls, because like that will also help. So there's like, you're familiar with the force velocity curve, right? So like I use it to argue isometrics, because it's like the closer to your 1 rep max that you can do, the slower you go. So like for everyone listening here, if you were to try to lift 500 pounds, let's say you could lift it, deadlift, right? It'd probably be a lot slower than how you lift 5 pounds. So if you're like, everyone here, as they pick up 5 pounds, you can do it almost instantly, like not weighted. 50 pounds, slightly slower, right? And then 150 pounds, noticeably slower than if you're just standing up, unless you're very strong here, right? 500 pounds, you'd be going up, and eventually, as you hit like your true absolute strength at that angle, you would stop. Right. So from this, we know that isometrics, we're always going to be able to hold more than we can lift, because if we could hold more than that, then we would just simply lift it. It also works the other way. So by the way, you can look this up. So it's not just me like spitballing. The force velocity curve, as you get stronger in those angles and in that movement, you will be able to go faster too. You can be more explosive. There's more to it, obviously, right? This is why like the heaviest squatters on the highest jumpers. There's obviously more to it. I'm not saying that's all there is to it, but I'm saying that you would probably only benefit from getting stronger in that.
Sweet, thank you. Time to do weighted pull-ups.
Oh, of course. You know, and like people said a lot of other things. They couldn't be here. You know, tell them I love them and I appreciate them.
No worries. Does anybody else have any questions? Podcast is coming to an end. Unless anybody wants to keep going. Go ahead, Chris. Take it.
Could I ask a question? So a personal question, but I'll ask the question someone sent to me for Hampton first because I'm being polite. The question was from Zio, who's a member of the community. He says he started doing L-sits, but the L-sits aren't progressing. He wants to know if with hamstring stretching or flexibility help, and what other limiting factors could there be, like hip flexors or common limitations when learning an L-sit as a beginner?
It really would depend. I would have to look at it. But the first thing I would say is to point your feet. Do that. That alone seems to help a lot of people, right? When they're trying to do an L-sit, especially if not doing it in like a gymnastic sense, they're just doing it for calisthenics. You know, we're a little bit, how should I put this? We're the Americans of the fitness world when it comes to like gymnastics and like dancing and stuff. It's like, we don't really care how it looks. We just want to do it, right? So, and I say that as an American. Just pointing your feet, it will reduce the hamstring. You wouldn't think it would, but like for whatever reason, it seems to help the mobility there. Helps people stay up a little bit. Before that, you could do things like elephant walks. You can do it before that. Not enough to where you feel too tired, especially as you're learning it, but that will help you keep your legs straight and up as you're doing them. So do the elephant walks beforehand. Just try them out a little bit. You know, don't go like, my back. You know, just do them gently. Do them gently. Just always start progressively, and then point toes forward, like you're trying to point at something in front of you, but you're not using your hands. You're just like, hey, look at that thing right there. But follow where my toes are going. That's what I would do. Sorry if my answers are too long, by the way. Like if I don't know how many questions we have. If we have a lot of them, I can go through them faster. He says as he like gives like 20-minute answers, but I'll try faster. and if you just want me to go more in depth, I'm happy to go more in depth on stuff.
Well, I prefer in depth. This is great for podcasting. Yeah, cool. Do as much as you want, Hampton. I really do appreciate it. Guys, stop being shy. Ask your questions. Kendra, do you have a question? Boya, do you have a question? Tommy, you've asked yours. Harry, do you have a question?
I'm asking a question again. I'll go again.
Wait. I think Chris actually, because he, I don't want to like ignore him. He said that he had something else, but you wanted to be polite.
I was being polite. I'm not being polite anymore. But thank you. You're being polite on my behalf. So
members, Chris.
Yeah, I'm a member technically. So it's a question I get sometimes, and it's really quite annoying. So I'm going to ask it to you.
Okay.
Is there like a strength level? Like, should you be able to do a certain weighted pull-up or number of pull-ups to do a muscle up? Is there like a? I'll give an answer. I'll answer after. I'll let you answer first, and I'll give my answer afterwards. We'll see if they match up. Is there like a conversion point? You think you can do this much of this exercise, you can then do the next progression? Should you be able to do a certain weight with pull-up? Should you be able to do, say, extra 25% body weight to do a muscle up, or like 10 pull-ups, 15 pull-ups, something like that? Is there any like a connection?
Yeah, so like everyone has different answers, and they cite a very scientific source of truth, which is it's completely out of their butt, right? Yeah. So it's
thank you for saying it. Yeah,
it's completely made up, right? It's like it's not, you know, obviously like if you go like 3, it's like probably right.
Yeah,
like the general consensus is like I've heard as low as 9 to like 15 for like being able to do pull-ups to muscle up, right? The real answer is just like, it's kind of like the force velocity curve. It's like, can you go up with enough speed rather than how many you can do? Like, it's going to be more of like a strength thing, right? Rather than endurance. But it also matters because it's like, if you don't have strength in a very specific range, it's like I am very strong on this 1 inch of movement, right? Which doesn't happen. But like, it's like that's not going to work, right? So there's a little bit of endurance in there, but mostly how fast can you move up? That's going to be the thing. If we were actually going to measure something, it would be like the rate of speed at which your head moved or something, right, towards the bar. It's like you're accelerating at 10 meters per second, and you broke gravity, right? It's going up. That would be the real metric. Yeah. Or he says, as he pulls it completely out of his butt, right? I didn't think that until just now when you asked, and now I'm saying it like it's truth. It's like that would be the real
confident
metric. That would be the real metric. It's like no, all other things don't count.
The
That
real
one's real.
metric, yeah.
Like,
The real metric.
heard it here first on the fitness podcast. Like and subscribe.
There we go.
But,
The real
yeah.
metric. There you go.
Like so, yeah. Feel free to make it up because everyone else does.
Okay, awesome. No, I appreciate that, and I think I think you're right. I tend to say about 10 pull-ups. If you can do 10 good pull-ups, you shouldn't, it's not unreasonable to expect you can do a muscle up, providing the skills there and stuff. Again, presuming how much you're happy to swing and stuff. A strict muscle up's obviously very different to a kipping muscle up when you're swinging and swinging.
There we go. Great.
Awesome, thank you, guys. Any more questions? Harry must have any appropriate questions. I'm sure Harry's got an appropriate question.
Harry, you got any questions? I'm shocked he's being shy.
Harry's got a question. Harry's got a question.
Yeah.
He's gonna make it appropriate.
Interrupted Coach Boris earlier, so I want to make sure I get to him. I didn't mean to interrupt him.
I
was just about to say that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
sure. Hey,
Boy, how you doing?
hi. I was wondering, what do calisthenics guys do for conditioning and more cardio health related stuff? Is that even a thing? What do you do?
It really depends on who you ask. So like calisthenics guys, Hybrid Calisthenics is my brand, right? But when I list these words off, you're gonna think different things, especially if you're familiar with it. There's bodyweight fitness, home workout, calisthenics, street workout, right? And like all kinds of different things. Like these all refer to like bodyweight training, or bodyweight fitness would be the last, but they refer to different like subcultures within bodyweight training. Street workout is very different than home workout. Home workout, I say this with all like this is like positive, is like people working out at home, moms watching TV, follow along. That's great. That's great. But that's very different from the culture. Like if you're like they are the same thing as street workout. It's like I want to go do like street workout, like soccer mom going to a street workout competition. It's like what are these plates people are hooking up to themselves, right? So it's a very different thing that people have. What do they do for conditioning? I think it would just depend on the person. It would like for a lot of athletes, they really wouldn't think about. Honestly, a lot of them don't think about cardio, right? Because they're just like sidetracking me from my gains, right? And if you want to do something in general, I would say jumping rope would be one thing. I do hill sprints, right? I'm a little bit more of an intense cardio rather than a like endurance cardio person. Or walking is really the more common one. It's not quite, like what some people would consider cardio, but a 10,000 steps thing, if I had to choose one, a lot of people do that. A lot of people, both in fitness and in calisthenics, I think especially in calisthenics, since walking is calisthenics, they do that, right? Because I think they choose it because they feel like it doesn't interfere with their rest as much, right? But they're still caloric burn, like very gentle cardio, but it's not so much that it's interfering with their ability to come back the next day and work out and hit a PR.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
It kind of reminds everyone about all other forms of fitness. We want to do all the things, just not the health related stuff.
True, right? It's just like why work out your heart when you can work your biceps, right? The heart's the only thing it's keeping you alive. It's just it's kind of like in my workout routine, nobody wants to do the bridges or the twists, right? They want bigger biceps. I'm like that's great, it's only your spine, right? It's like it's only the thing that's keeping you alive, right? But people will do what they do.
Yeah, speaking of biceps, hey, thanks a lot, everyone, for asking questions. Does anybody else have any other questions? Sorry, Boya, did I interrupt you? Were you still asking?
No, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead.
Oh, did you still have any questions? Yes, because I blame Chris. Chris is out here yapping, asking 10 questions. I'm like, this is for the members.
I've got a lot to learn.
It's like, gosh. But it's all right. I appreciate you, Chris. You're amazing. Hampton, we do have a surprise for you. I wish I was a billionaire. I would have given you something. So we've added a few bot commands, which is so weird because I was added it to home workouts, and then you were like, "There's a difference between home workouts, street workouts," and I'm like, "Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck!" So I might rework this to like hybrid calisthenics or something like that. But for home workouts, is it home workouts or home workouts? I'm butchering this, guys. Lau, I'll need your help whenever you're available. But there are going to be some more workout routines, and it's going to be linking directly to Hampton's YouTube channel. We're going to have street workouts, hybrid calisthenics, just different videos that are on your website, your platform. I also know you're currently working on your app. I've looked at it, tried it out myself. It's always awkward because I've like, Chris is going to roast me for saying my height, because I'm like 6'5" and I have no calisthenics park around me, so I have to go to the park. So there are always kids there. So hey, gotta brag whatever you can, right? So I have been using your apps a lot. It is very helpful. That's also going to be added to the server as well, as appreciation for you joining. Really do appreciate you, Hampton. You've been absolutely amazing. You've been completely humble. I know you've got guests around right now, and I know you're a very busy man. If you do want to stay on to keep asking questions, feel free to. If you don't want to, if you can't, because I know you've got responsibility, you're more than welcome for us to call it. You did promise 1 hour, and you were here early, on time, ready to speak. Chris was wasting our time, yapping all along. So anybody else, if you don't have any other questions, you can probably send it to me, DM it to me, send it to whoever you want to, or message Hampton directly, and we'll try and get it to him. Hampton, do you have anything you want to say?
No, I really appreciate everyone being here. I'm happy to do it. That's what I mean. It's just like, I was like, I've been trying to focus on this. I really been declining a lot of, I enjoy podcasts, but I just been like, because like, it breaks me out of my flow, right? I'm like, no, I want to get up, I want to do this, right? But I really appreciate you guys having me here. It really is very fun talking with you. I'm glad you guys, there's always like a vibe of you guys getting along and you kind of like needling each other. It's like, it's like, okay, shut up, Mr. 5.5 push-up, right? That's like, I enjoy that vibe. And I think that, what do you do? Right. And I see your success. I have your notifications. I left them on, right? So you're like people pinging me. Dude, if you ever see my notifications bar in like a stream or something, it is maxed. Every social platform is all like notifications 99 plus. Right? All of them. And I don't mean that as a flex. I just mean that I'm okay with that just being maxed out. Right? Like my top left of my Discord right now says, I'll just screenshot it. I'll send it. It says 216. Right? I don't even know where those are from. Right? But I keep the notifications on. I see your success. I see you got verified here. You're like, no, it wasn't like the paid verification. It was real verification. I was like, that is awesome. Good for you. And if there's anything I can do to help, just in general, in fitness, in business, in media, I'm very happy to help. If you ever want to do your own app, or something, very happy to assist with that and talk about it. I'm just, really happy to be here. And I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm here to help whenever I can. I'm sorry if I don't always respond as fast as I would like to. I've been away from the internet touching grass. Right. By touching grass, I mean touching my keyboard somewhere else, and occasionally grass. But really appreciate you having me here. I always like catching up with you. I'm here if you need me.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Hampton. And I'm really sorry for those news alerts. I blame the marketing team. It's not me. And by marketing team, I mean my alter ego. Thank you very much, mate. I hope you have a great day. You're more than welcome to leave. We'll just do some closing with the podcast. And I send my blessing towards you. And we are going to add those bot commands for the app as well. And yeah, if you need anything from me, you want to promote anything in the server, if you've got anything going on, let me know.
We'll do that, and I will sign off. I appreciate that, and like I know the app is still pretty. Like I appreciate you using it and all your kind words. I understand it's pretty basic, but like I am actively involved in like this is less promotion and me just like chatting with you. I'm actively involved in the development right now. Right, so like the thing where the status icons are no longer dark and then white, I changed that. It was style equals in quotes, light. I added a semicolon, which was a bug, and I deleted the semicolon. Boom. I am an essential member. I am an essential member of this development team. I keep saying that. Meanwhile, our genius developer, who's colorblind, that's why he didn't see it. He's like, yeah, all right. He rebuilt the whole app, But meanwhile, I'm like, hey, you left this color. All right, you're welcome. You are welcome. For me picking up the slack. No, I'm just kidding. I love the guy. A couple things. I appreciate using it. It is a little basic. We're working on it. If you want to do some kind of integration, we can talk later. To where if you tell me what you find helpful or the community finds helpful, that's one of the things I want to do. An issue with fitness apps, right? And you guys can think this is you can believe me or not, but as I've been doing this, I've been trying to do a good app for a couple of years. One is software is hard and expensive. Stuff has changed. Stuff is shifting, and people think they can do it. I don't know. And that's why there's some services that basically sell. They rent it out to fitness content creators, and they say, hey, you can use this. Just pay this amount a month. The downside of that is they kind of own your audience. They kind of own you. They can unplug you anytime. You don't actually own it. It's called your app, and it has your name on it, and it has your face on it, but you don't own it. Right, and that's what. But that's the deal. I'm not saying it's a scam, but it's that's one of the trade-offs because they've invested millions into this. One thing but now that we've gone the hard way, and there's blood, sweat, and tears of building this, I want to be able to offer it to where we can integrate. If you have a workout routine associated with your Discord, as we expand into custom workouts, I'd like to be able to add it in there if you want. Right, it doesn't. We can work out some kind of thing for that. I want to make it to where people can add it in and they can show workouts. And ultimately, it is something another thing I want that can help people. So basically, if there's something that we can do with the app that would help you in particular, Hampton, I really would like this thing, and I think it would really help the community for this. Let me know. But it's hard to talk about software without making it sound like it's a sale, right? It's even just now, I'm just I didn't even say don't go download it. I'm just I would change it so it's only if you want. And if you ever want to do your own thing, let me know. I'm here to help. You can message me anytime.
Yeah, I do have an idea. It's a push-up form tracker. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you very much, Hampton. Yeah, yeah, you had the idea. If you have it on your app, I'm gonna use it every single day. For obvious reasons.
You need it.
But yeah, thanks a lot, Hampton. This has been a blast. Send my blessings to your family. I hope you have a great day. And yeah, see you, dude. Take care. Bye-bye. And thank you, everyone. Cool. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Podcast hasn't fully finished. We also have an announcement. First and foremost, huge shout out to the GOAT, the one and the only. This guy, I messaged him 5 minutes before the podcast started. He was already ready. He jumped into the Discord podcast channel instantly. He's always been here. Hasn't missed a single day of the podcast. And I want to thank him so much for all the help and hard work that he put into this. And that is myself. Thank you very much. Ayo, you are... No, just kidding. It is Chris. Thank you, Chris. Oh God! Look at his face. His face just dropped. He was like, "Wait, what the fuck?" Yeah. Oh, he saw it coming.
Yeah, we knew.
Hey, it's me. Hey, it's me, the humble God King Wizard, right? Now, all jokes aside. Thank you very much, Chris. I was trying to take as much notes as possible, learn stuff myself. The podcast was amazing. You did amazing the first time we did this. You did amazing again. Thanks a lot, mate. Guys, remember, it isn't strike first. It isn't strike force. It is strength first. Support Chris STR first on all platforms. And we have a huge announcement. Thanks to everyone who did Armed and Dangerous. I think we had really good reviews. Where's Tommy? Tommy, you here? Is Tommy gone?
He's on battery. I think he's battery dead.
Well, is he? No, he's lying. He's playing Marvel Rivals. We know this.
He's no battery.
Tommy, if you can hear us, right, and you can't switch tabs because you're a hard stop. No, because you're hard stocking Marvel Rivals. See, I told you he's here. He's playing Marvel Rivals. I know him too well. I hope you lose your game. I hope you lose your game.
I'm not even playing anymore, to be honest.
Anymore,
So,
dude.
yeah.
The game just finished like 2 minutes ago. Now,
Oh no, I mean like I haven't been playing.
No,
like,
no. All jokes
I
aside,
ranked like twice over like the last 2 days. So it's that's it for me this season.
yeah, that's God speaking. He's
God,
telling you you're wasting time on games. Like it's not real, mate.
Yeah.
Well, what happened to impressing the O's and getting the the beach body physique? Summer's almost over. June is already gone. Like we don't know how long good sunshine we're gonna get. Now, all jokes aside, thanks for the positive feedback for Harmed and Actually, what was your experience with Harmed and Dangerous? Tommy, go ahead.
I think I said something similar before. I said I thought it was really helpful for me being still relatively new. When I first saw the form, I assumed it was going to be to be quite honest, I assumed it was going to be like engagement form, where people do they tell you to register for something, they get your emails from it, and then they just start spamming you with emails, and then the things that they give you aren't even like very useful. So that's what I thought it was at first. But then when I joined, I thought the approach was very good, because James was very person-centered, in regards to the people that were there. So he would take out the time to respond to our emails respond to our questions afterwards. Maybe send out a few DMs, ask whether there was anything you wanted to focus on apart from Armed and Dangerous, which I thought was like really good. From the program itself, I thought it was helpful in regards to knowing how to train with high intensity, because fundamentally, compared to like a lot of the other muscle groups, arms are quite, the harder the better, or like the heavier the better, really, in terms of growth. So it really helped me, understand what high intensity was and what my range of failure was. So I started taking some of the approaches, training a lot harder, not necessarily focusing on the number of sets and reps, because even though that is good, if I was just using it as word is bond, I wasn't really getting too much out of it. So that's what I thought was nice, and I think I've seen some progress with that in regards to gains. So yeah, that's my feedback on it.
Thank you very much, mate, for the feedback. That's good news. We're taking all the feedback in, and we're going to potentially run it again. Guys, I used to have weak, skinny arms like Chris, until I started to trust in Coach James. There's the lighting. Just yawning. I need a drink. 1 sec. I need a sip of water.
Yeah, he's thirsty enough. We can tell that much. We can tell he's thirsty.
Yeah, go ahead, James. The panel is yours.
I'm loving this beef today. Where have I been, man? I've missed this shit. Well, first of all, I want to say a big apologies to everyone for being MIA for a while. Saturdays have just been really bad for me for the past sort of like 4-6 weeks. Just had events on and things like that. So aiming to get back on, depending on when the new time will be. Obviously, that might potentially change week to week. So we'll just see how that goes. But yeah, that was the first thing I want to say. Second thing is, yeah, we are thinking of running this event again. The first time around, everyone seemed to get a really good experience, and they said that they got a lot out of it. So decided to run it again. And yeah, so if you guys are struggling with arm growth, I mean, really the principles apply beyond just arms. There's a lot going on there that you can take away, even if you're struggling, say, with your delts or your chest. You're still going to take away quite a lot of the principles from the actual event itself, which will apply across the board. So, if you're struggling with your training in general, I'm sure if you get in there and do the work and actually just commit to the tasks and absorb it, what I'm telling you, you will 100% take a lot away and progress a lot across the board. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled, more details to come. But yeah, cheers AO. And yeah, I think that's about it, really.
And remember, if you want those huge arm gains, you can always trust on Coach Chris. Flex off. Let's go. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, everyone. All jokes aside, I think the first time we did the podcast for Hampton, we barely had like 10 people join in. That was embarrassing. This time we had like up to 50 plus people join in. So thank you very much for that. Hampton just DM'd me. He loves the community. He loves you guys. He also has his own Discord server. Feel free to join it. He's a very chill guy. As you can see, he doesn't respond to a lot of DMs except mine. I don't know. I'm just a nice guy, right? People like me for no reason. But really do appreciate everyone who turned up. Thanks for all the questions. Where's Candy asked? Where are you? You still here? I know I give him a lot of crap. You asked some really good questions. Thanks, Lau. Lau, I like that you had videos. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Boya. Thanks for joining. Boya, you're more than welcome to join the podcast every week if you want to. Thank you, Tiny Viking. Thank you, everyone who stayed on to the very end. Thank you to everyone who was here before it started. Yeah, and thank you, Boostcamp. Guys, you want to get free workouts, make sure to use Boostcamp. Ooh, and maybe we can start promoting Hampton's app as well. Who knows? Let's see what's going to go down in a couple of days. Is there anything else that I need to say? Have I forgotten? Have I said everything? Can I let you guys go?
You said a lot.
Yo, Chris, you were yapping. Wait, all jokes aside, right? Right, serious mode. Bro, this podcast was for members. We got people here like saying, hey, my bedtime is like in 2 hours or whatever. Can I quickly join to ask a question? Yes, Chris, like, okay, as a coach, technically,
He shows up every week for the last 70 or so
I can unplug my headphones because of him. What is this?
I'm allowed 2 questions for Hampton.
I didn't hear a single thing you said. What did you say, Chris?
What difference would it make? I said, I've been here for the last 70 weeks in a row. I can ask Hampton 2 questions.
No, I'm joking. I already glazed you. I'm not going to do it again because it's kind of sus. But thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have an amazing weekend. We have got some more events being planned. Sky and Mimi, we're putting together the event team. More events to come. And guys, this is being streamed, or it was streamed. Thanks to the 10 people. We had 10 people on Twitch this time who joined.
That's actually good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you, Kareem. Thanks for following. Thank you, Swagger Dad 69. Very interesting name, guys. Be careful with the names you have. It's just sauce. Yeah, and everyone, I hope you have a great evening. Thank you all. See you. Bye.
Appreciate it, guys. Take it easy.
Discord podcast on a weekend.
Yep.
Oh my god. How sad and pathetic. You know what? If I had to join a Discord server in my teenage years on a summer day, on a weekend,